Hear me now. War fire.
Hey! Caught me dancing there to our intro music. How's it going, guys? Another edition of Super Wednesday Live. Here with us today, we have this guy. Oops, we're over here. Jose Santa Maria, also known as Jazz. So I'll be calling him Jose unless he tells me later on that it's Jazz and he's not answering my questions. So a pleasure to meet you. I'm actually not familiar with you, so I'm uber excited to learn all about you. Welcome to our show, and thank you for giving us this time with us tonight.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So Vegas, you'll be one of our headliners, but I would like to start with, who are you? How did you get to be a headliner for the Las Vegas Salsa Congress?
Well, my name is Jose Santa Maria, as you already mentioned, and I go by Jazz. I've been dancing for over 20 years. Started with salsa, moved into bachata just about a little over 12 years ago. Completely fell in love with it as well. But then about 7 years ago, I started dancing with Danielle and Desiree World Team Project.
Okay.
And that's what kind of got me, introduced into the sensual side of bachata, or the sensual side of bachata. Bachata sensual no matter what, right? But there's a style now that is called sensual bachata by the creators, Corte and Judith, of course. And so I've been, traveling the world and, learning more and getting myself, more acquainted with the dance itself. So for the last 6-7 years, add that 2 more years because of the pandemic. So it's about 8 years now, almost 10 years that I've been doing this, traveling all over the place, through Europe, Asia, and, the Americas. Really internalizing, bachata sensual and really getting a grasp for what it is and what it entails. Not only as a dancer, but also as an instructor, because that's something I'm committed to my students. So that's something that I do, always keep learning, right? As an instructor, I always want to keep learning.
Thank you.
Yes. And I want to make sure that it's not only fun, but it's also safe for everybody. So my biggest thing is, to try to get the best of the technique out there, so that when I teach it, people can, really grasp what is bachata sensual. But my first love is always going to be salsa. I love salsa, always been in it. It's just, I was a kid, I've been dancing, like merengue, cumbia and stuff like that. But then salsa, I really started to, get into it about 21 years ago.
So I have to ask, just pause real quick. So 20 years ago, you were, 17, 18, you're a teenager in your 20s. So
Exactly,
what got you, yeah. So what got you started in the salsa scene? What was it? A girl? Your mom?
It's funny. So quick story. So I was working for IBM at the time, and my job took me to Argentina, Buenos Aires, and I was at the hotel and I saw this beautiful couple just dancing, and they were dancing tango, right? And I was like mesmerized by them. And I remember my grandfather used to do milongas, and he was just a dancer. He, throughout his life, he's always danced. He competed, he did all kinds of stuff. But I used to watch him, and it's like this couple just brought me back to those days when I was a kid watching my grandfather. And so anyway, they saw me that I was staring, I guess, and they came up to me and they're like, "Hey, how you doing?" You introduce themselves, very nice people. Again, this was about 21 years, over 21 years ago, and they they said, hey, we have this place that we're going to right after the show here. If you want to join us, I mean, it's just a club, and I thought, cool, yeah, why not? I mean, I have nothing better to do. So I did. I joined them, and I went to what they call a milonga. Now, the milonga, for those of you that don't know, is it's basically a tango party, right? And so I'm sitting there, but in the I guess in the breaks, because they give you like 15, 20-minute breaks, like every 2 hours or something like that. In those breaks, they play salsa, and I was like, oh my god, that sounds so fun. But I was like, this is kind of different. Anyway, I'm sitting there and I'm like moving because my Latino, obviously, just came out, and I was like, wow. But I had no idea how to dance it, right? Partner dancing, I never done that. I did hip hop, I did jazz, but I never did partner dancing. So anyway, their friend, just this beautiful dancer, just comes out and says, let's dance. And I looked at her and I'm like, you can't say no to a girl, right? Just, you never say no when it comes to dancing. And so I did. She just, literally just danced circles around me and made me look good. But I'm sitting there the whole time thinking to myself, oh my God, this is so much fun. But also I was so petrified because it's completely out of my comfort zone. So needless to say, I left early after those 20 minutes, and I said thank you to the guys and everything. I got back to the States, and I called my best friend up, and I'm like, dude, we got to start learning how to do salsa. And he's like, dude, I was just thinking the same thing. And we're talking like this, right? Like, dude, right? But so anyway, we took a class at one of the junior college in Redwood City, and immediately like fell in love with it. And I swear to you, the minute I started doing salsa, my life completely shifted. So I started going dancing 6 days a week.
Holy cow!
6 days a week. Kid you not, right?
While still working with IBM.
Yes. I was still working with IBM at the time, but I was getting there, all groggy and stuff, right? Thank God that, they were very cool with me. And as long as I did my job, they were okay. And so I did, I started doing that. Next thing I know, I'm like getting more into it and more into it. And then, the instructor that was teaching us, she asked me, hey, you want to help us? Want to help me out? And because she didn't have a partner. And I'm like, yeah, sure, and it's all free classes, and I get to dance with this beautiful dancer. I'm like, yeah, of course. So I did. Next thing I know, we're going to the first ever LA Salsa Congress.
1999?
1999, that's right. You know your stuff. Yep.
I was there too. I was there too.
Oh, you were? Yes. Albert Torres.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hollywood Park and Casino. Yep.
Yes. And that grew so fast, right? And I didn't miss it. After that. Every year I was there. Every year. Yep. Right. Yeah. And we made great.
You had to. You had to be there. You were not anybody if you didn't go to the LA Salsa Congress in the early 2000s.
Exactly. And I remember telling myself, man, I want to be able to perform on stage with those people. I want to be able to do that. And then I started to, just teach with this partner. And then I moved just about an hour north, and I started my own stuff, right? Like I started doing my own thing. And that was in my head all the time. Like I have to get on stage at the LA Bachata, at the LA Salsa Congress. And sure enough, a few years later, I was up there, and it was great for me because I don't know if you remember this, but back in the days, you had to send a video.
Yes.
To
audition.
Audition. Yes. Things have changed a lot.
Yeah, things have changed. Yeah, you had to be worthy of being up on the stage. Yeah.
Yes. And so I was very honored when, Albert, said, yeah, we'd like you to come. And I was like, wow, this is cool. And I had a teenager group with me. So I was working with teens at the time too. And so we got out there, we had a great time. And then from there, which is like every year we were performing there. And then I started going outside, like, went to Toronto. That was my first international, Congress. And next thing I know, I'm like, I'm quitting my job. I'm quitting my job and I'm going to dedicate myself into salsa. So I did.
Wow.
I did. And that was 2 years after starting. And and it was quite a ride. I'm so glad I did it.
I'm sure your family said, "Estás loco, Jose, por favor."
100%.
What are you doing? IBM, like job security, I don't know, salsa dancing? What?
Exactly. To this day, they still say the same thing. It's just funny how, life just, goes around and it just like takes you into different paths for a reason. And I think everything, is for a reason. I wanted to travel more. I wanted to do more performance. And next thing I know, my very first over the big pond was to Africa. That was my first, to Egypt. That was my very first huge international one. And so I was taken over there and I got to learn Kizomba there. And Amr, who is the producer there, he just was so amazing to me. They treated me so well. It was just incredible. The people were so warm. It was an amazing, amazing opportunity.
Jose, I have to stop you because those who don't know, Egypt is the one place in the whole world that I want to go to before I die. And so you're just killing me here with the fact that the one place that I really want to go to, and you got to dance salsa. Like, that's like the two magic things. I mean, you've just blown my world. I'm sure things are a little bit different now that maybe there's not a Egypt Salsa Congress, but if there ever is, if you ever talk to the promoter again, Brenda Palacios, whatever it takes, you just mention me and get me in there.
I'll do that. Just FYI, they do it every year.
Still?
The Afro-Latin, they do the Afro-Latin escape. It's called the Afro-Latin escape, and this is in Egypt.
Well, hopefully my husband is listening. Hopefully my husband is listening and maybe I can get that in there. Yeah. I don't mean to interrupt you, but we do have to take a quick break. We'll be right back and continue with Jose Santamaria. Your story is amazing. I can't wait to hear more.
Ya estoy en zona, tranquilo que ya llegué.
Dice, vamos allá. Como vengo,
estoy en zona, tranquilo que ya llegué.
Ya se comenta en el barrio, existe preocupación de que no estoy en escena, dejen el chisme por Dios.
The first thing you notice when you arrive at Tropicana Las Vegas is that everything has changed. From the moment you arrive, you'll enjoy unique VIP service and you'll be immersed in the casual South Beach vibe of this modern Las Vegas paradise. Tropicana Las Vegas features great dining experiences and thrilling entertainment choices, including Club Nikki and Nikki Beach Club. And when you need a rest from the excitement, adjourn to your very own sanctuary in the Tropicana's best-in-class rooms and suites. Surprise! It's the new Tropicana Las Vegas.
Todas las mujeres de la fiesta quieren que bailar conmigo.
Dale vuelta y bailalo a mi estilo.
Quieren que bailar conmigo.
Saco a tu pareja pa' que baile conmigo.
Quieren que bailar conmigo.
¡Chao!
Hello, and we're back. You guys caught me off guard there, still dancing to the music. Frankie Morales will be with us 4th of July weekend in Las Vegas Salsa Congress. But we have Jazz, Jose Santamaria, with us, continuing with his story. Started with salsa, fell in love with bachata, got to perform, went to Egypt, good for you. So let's get to kind of what happened, I don't know, 2019, 2020. What happened and what have you been doing this last 2 years?
Well, so like with everybody, it was a tough one for everybody. It doesn't matter what you were in. So we decided to do the same thing that everybody did, and do online, and started to teach online. We had obviously our faithful followers were there supporting us all the way through. Without them, we couldn't have made it, for those 2 years. It was touch and go there for a while. So a lot of good things came out of there, though. You could see, the love for the community, the love for the music, the love for the dance. We kept it alive. The communities here got united. They started getting some groups together so that we can all, cross market for each other's classes and stuff. So that was really good. The Bay Area kind of came in and showed up in a big way. And that also got me to, explore a little bit beyond my comfort zone, right? Because teaching live and teaching online, they're two very different things. So I got to learn a lot about like Zoom and all this other mediums that we had to utilize in order to make it work.
So I'm just going to interrupt you real quick. So some people learned how to cook. Other people learned a lot about exercise. What did you do? Did you read a big novel? What did you really do other than, your Zoom classes and stuff? Any new hobbies?
No, what I actually decided to do was sharpen up on my technical skills. Because
so you worked on yourself?
Well, no, on my technical skills with computers.
Oh.
Because remember, I worked for IBM for a little bit in HP, and so I was doing that before I started doing salsa full time, bachata, right? But during this time, I started thinking like, well, what are you gonna do? I mean, we don't know how long this is gonna be. A year went by, and I was like, holy cow, So I started to sharpen up again on my skills, and putting up my resume, and basically started to reinvent myself, just as a backup, right? Because you never know what's going on, and so, or what was going to happen anyway. So I should say, I started to, do that. Kind of started to, look at the alternatives for if we can't be together anymore, like if we can't be at close proximity. And even after the pandemic, how are we going to navigate this, right? Because still right now, people are still afraid. It's not something that is completely gone, but we're managing. And so I wanted to make sure that I had a backup. So that's what I did. That took a while because, yeah.
But you didn't have to go that route.
I did have to go that route at the end. And that's only for my own. So I'm doing both now. So I got back and I'm starting again, with the live, obviously, classes. But I decided to take a job. So I now have a 9-to-5 job, or 8-to-4, whatever you want to call it. So I started to do that. But I love working, in places that you make a difference. So I started working for the community hospital here in the IT department, and I met some really amazing people that that really, really love what they do, because they give so much to the community, and so that just went along side to side for me, because I'm like, I love my community, and dancing has, giving me that opportunity to meet my community more up and close, and personal, and also help some people through that, right? And then now I'm in this other community where they're helping all these people that don't have insurance, that don't have the means to, to support a medical bill, and so to see those doctors giving their time, or, those people volunteering, or, some got paid obviously, but not everybody.
Right.
And so that was really, really, that to me meant a lot more.
So
And
you were
then,
so you were working in the hospitals, and you still are now with the COVID part. So you've seen some things in that arena, or anything that you can talk about, any stories, or not really, because IT's in a
yeah,
separate
no,
part.
there's not that many stories actually for me anyway.
Okay.
I mean, I helped set up the camps for, the COVID testing, and I helped, with all the technical aspect of that. So I didn't, I wasn't, I was present only for the beginning and at the end. Everything in between, they did all the work. But I supported them, and I was a phone call away if they needed me. So I was at the office, and they were out the field.
Okay.
And this is, like I said, it's a community hospital, right? Where, it's an outreach program. And like I said, it was more about like having the love for community that really kept me there. And it's giving me, it's inspired me, to keep working for now. I moved
Good for you.
since to do school now. So I'm in a school system now, and
Okay.
same thing, right? Like supporting kids, and schools don't have the funds, but it's again the love of what you're doing that keeps you there, right? And the same thing for
Absolutely.
me. Yeah, same thing for me in dancing, right? It's like I love my culture, and I love teaching my culture to other people and meeting other people through that. And then having other people fall in love with my culture. That was definitely, my biggest thing since the beginning was that, people understanding my culture. It's just great. It's amazing. And now, it's funny because I was in Japan teaching a couple workshops, and I was amazed of like all these people that dance salsa and bachata, and I was like, and they don't listen. I mean, you know how you have like music that gets or things, yeah, music that gets translated into that language. We don't. They
Right.
just listen to it the way it is, and they learn the words, and then they
Yes.
sing along with it. It was
Well,
just
well,
amazing.
well. I don't know if this was your experience, but in 1999 and 2000 at the LA Congress, I was flabbergasted to see Asian people at the Congress. Like, what? That was mind blowing to me. I mean, in my head, it kind of seemed okay, the Europeans, okay, maybe the Australians, but to see Japanese, Chinese, people from Hong Kong, Singapore, wow. Our music transcends through all of these different cultures. And that to me, me llenó. I'm telling you, it was so heart-filling. So I know exactly what you talk about when you're talking about, diversity and wanting to share that with other people, because they can't appreciate what we have to offer as Latinos and stuff. I have to ask, I'm kind of curious. So, Bachata Sensual, in your training and in your easiest way, I'm not bachatera. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm not bachatera, but I can appreciate a beautiful dance. Explain to me exactly what that is. I mean, okay, again, I'm being mean here, but is that where sex, as much sensual as you can put with clothes on, is that what your sensual bachata is? Or explain it to me, because I
Yeah. Actually, I'm glad you asked that question, because a lot of people have this like misconception, right, of bachata sensual, and to dance bachata sensual, you have to have a very good grasp of technique to be able to do that. There's a lot of things that involve or encompasses this dance, which is one of the reasons why I love it so much, is that it takes more technique than just like the basic step. You know, you are now fully connected with a partner, and there's undulation, there's body waves, there's isolation, there is this feeling that you have, when you're listening to the music and experiencing it with somebody else. Now, it is bachata is intimate no matter what. Okay, we have bachata urbana, we have bachata, I should say the other way, right? We have bachata dominicana, which have urbana, and then we have the sensual. Or now we have the fusion, right? Because the fusion now encompasses everything basically, right? But yes, there's only one bachata, right? Let's be clear on that. There's only one bachata. The basic step of bachata is it, all right? So that's not going to change. However, as everything, any dance, including the more traditional ones like ballet, right? They have the more contemporary, the more modern ballet now, right? Everything has evolved, over time. Now, bachata has the same thing. It has evolved, and people have taken it to another level. Ballroom people are doing it now. Bachata is just taking over the world in that sense. So bachata sensual it's a little more intimate. It's a little closer, and it has a little more of that sex appeal. But it is not a sexual dance. It's a sensual dance. There is that little line that divides it, right? And that's where people get a little
muddy because
lost. Mm-hmm.
And again, I don't do it. I do it with my husband, and even then, it's very minimal. Mm-hmm. But I have only heard stories, and these are not people that I know, only these stories where the bachata room, more so than in salsa rooms, because back it was only in salsa. These guys were doing it in the salsa rooms. But now it just kind of seems like se aprovechan, because mm-hmm. it's bachata. It is a little bit slower and sensual. Maybe women take advantage of men too, but it just kind of seems like it can get out of hand quicker. So what's your rule one? What is it that you're teaching to your students in regards to rules to abide by when you're taking this type of dance to the club?
Well, number one rule is self-respect. Okay? Because I don't care if you're a lead or a follow. You have to respect yourself first. And if there's something that you don't like, whether it is a legitimate step or legitimate hold, but yourself, because you can't do anything about anybody else. You can only do what's best for you, okay? And I tell my students this too. Always have your safety up front. If you don't like something, it is okay for you to verbalize that to the partner. And it is okay for you to stop somebody in their tracks when they are being disrespectful to your body, to your needs, to your person.
Thank you.
There's none of that out there. There should never be that. Now, this happens, and I know because I've been in it for so long, but this has been happening at the clubs where there's drinking and stuff like that going on. But if you go to a social setting, like a studio or something like that, you're not going to see that much.
Right.
Right. But unfortunately, the club scene kind of brings the alcohol and this and that. And don't get me wrong, there are, socials where that would happen.
Right.
But it's more rare.
So we're running out of time here, but I have to just ask a few questions here.
Sure.
Relationship status.
Okay. Well,
the reason why I ask is because I've asked all of my guests the same questions, and the reason why is because, maybe you're single and looking, and I know plenty of women that I can throw your way. Or I want to respect you, that if you're married, I'm not going to send those women to you your way. So there you go.
Nice. First of all, I'm single. As a matter of fact, recently single. And the pandemic also had to do some numbers on us too.
Right.
So I'm single. Am I currently looking or actively? I love meeting people.
Perfect. Perfect. Relationship status, single. Did you hear that, women? Single. So if you see them, and you want to dance with them, there you go. You can,
Exactly.
take it slow and go somewhere. Let's talk about Vegas real quick. Vegas, what's your most favorite thing about Las Vegas Super Congress?
The shows. It's my favorite. Like, Vegas has, they have done such a great job at, bringing such high caliber of dancers that it's what sets them apart.
Absolutely.
And you hear about all these people, like Yamule or like Tropical Jam, right? Like, you hear about them and you see them on YouTube. And then my students are like, oh my God, what? They're coming? They're going to be there? And I'm like, yeah. And you see their eyes just like, get bigger, right? And
yes,
that's what Vegas does,
Yes.
And Vegas in general, right? Everything is big, it's like grandiose, right? And the Salsa Congress in Vegas has never let me down.
Absolutely. And this year as well, we have Yamule, we have Caro Flores, we have Tropical Gem, we have Pablito y su Mezcla Latina from Italy, we have Luigi and Luigi. They go by different names, but the Italians. We have them as well. We have Gabriela and Leticia. And just added a couple from Sweden. And of course, Jose Santamaria. Do you have a permanent partner, or are you?
No, I don't. I have several partners that I usually travel with,
okay.
depending on where I'm going. Because not everybody can travel, like me. So
Right.
I have to have different partners to do that. But I've been lucky. All of them have been amazing partners. They're very, very well trained dancers.
So you'll be doing a bachata routine for us up on the stage in Vegas? Awesome.
Yes, we're doing our new routine, yeah.
Awesome. So one last question, just about you again. What are some of your goals and aspirations for the future? What are you working on?
Well, perfecting my teaching. It's a big one for me now. I think more so now than it was before. Before it was more about like be a better dancer and get on stage and do more. And now I want to, especially the question that you just threw out there, right? Like the bachata, the sensual, and like people taking advantage. That's a very important thing, and I think it's one of those things that we have to address all the time. So I want to become a better ambassador for the safety of our, dancers out there, especially our female dancers, but in general,
But in general, it can happen to men too. Let's just be clear. Yeah. Well, that's great. I really, really appreciate your time and being here with us. I really appreciate your story. I cannot wait to see you dance because, again, I'm not a bachatera, and I'm always a little bit leery about especially bachata sensual. So I can't wait to see that become real for me in front of me through you. So I really thank you, for bringing that to my attention. Can't wait to see you. And like everybody knows, we will see you guys in Las Vegas.
Ya estoy en zona, tranquilo que ya llegué.
Dice, vamos allá.
Estoy en zona, tranquilo que ya llegué.
Repítelo. Y como vengo,
Estoy en zona, tranquilo que ya llegué.
ya se comenta en el barrio, existe preocupación de que no estoy en escena, dejen el chisme por Dios.